So if you found this video, you probably know of the problems that Spinosauruskin recently had with Sargon of Akkad, and even more recently with Bering. I would like to show you in this video how Spinosauruskin just blatantly contradicts himself. I'm not going to use any outside arguments from anyone else. I'm strictly going to use Spinosauruskin's own clips from his own channel to basically make him debunk himself. So here we go. So the premise is that Spinosauruskin created a Twitter parody account of Sargon of Akkad named Hard On for Assad.
People are aware that I run Hard On for Assad.
The goal of this parody account by Spinosauruskin was to parody certain views of Sargon of Akkad and make fun of him.
So, I was just pissing about in a hangout with Reese from Nightmare Fuel, and we came up with this idea, the idea for the parody account. We thought, oh, that's a great idea for a parody account. And so I made it. I was just like, yep, I'm just gonna make it for the hell of it. And then I put out a couple tweets and started pissing about on that account, parodying certain views of Sargon.
And Sargon of Akkad had no way of knowing that this parody account was run by Spinosauruskin, which Spinosauruskin admits himself.
I realized one thing about the account was that people didn't know I was Spino.
So we've established that Spinosauruskin ran a parody account of Sargon of Akkad, and Sargon of Akkad did not know that this account was run by Spinosauruskin. And when Sargon of Akkad found out about this, he obviously wasn't too happy about it.
So I'm not really interested in people who will speak to your face and then speak again behind your back.
But now it's getting really bizarre in here, because even after those previous statements, Spinosauruskin now acts like Sargon should have known that this account was run by him, even after admitting that Sargon did not know it.
No, it was a public account, tweeting publicly, sometimes at you. I'm doing a bad job of this whole going behind your back sort of thing, running around in front of your face in a suit that looks like you and saying, hey, look at me and how silly I'm being. It's not stealth level novice, shall we say.
So this is just the most blatantly obvious contradiction imaginable. But it gets even worse, because next up, Spinosauruskin is trying to act like he and Sargon of Akkad weren't friends at the time when the parody account was running.
Sargon's main contention was that we were friends.
As one does to one's friends, even though to his face I will be polite and civil and, I'll come on his live streams and I'll talk to him and I'll be friendly with him.
In reality, I have been a scathing critic of Sargon for a while now.
This statement alone tells us nothing really, because obviously you can be critical of someone and still be friends with that person. So let's see what else he has to say.
Sargon and I have been openly hostile to each other for over a month. I told him to go fuck himself for smearing me as a virtue-signaling SJW, for smearing friends of mine as adherents to Pizzagate, and smearing my girlfriend as a white knight for terrorists. Now tell me, how does this make us friends? How am I being nice to your face when I'm telling you to go fuck yourself and saying you're an enemy of mine?
So we are seeing here that Spinosauruskin and Sargon of Akkad obviously had different disagreements when it came to certain topics. But I don't see anything here that would suggest that you choose to completely disassociate from someone. Such a statement was never made, as far as I know. Just because you had some disagreements in recent months doesn't mean that the friendship that was built for years is completely gone. I think this was just not communicated well. With all that said, it is the following statement of Spinosauruskin that convinces me that he was still on good terms with Sargon of Akkad.
So, it was a breath of fresh air to shitpost on something like that. And because I was less afraid of, burning bridges with friends, because for some reason, if I criticize a friend publicly, they start getting pissy with me. You know what? It was fun. It wasn't being made personal. People were actually addressing the arguments that the account was making.
So Spinosauruskin creates a parody account of Sargon of Akkad with the goal to parody certain of his views and make fun of him. Who exactly is Spinosauruskin afraid to burn bridges with here, if not Sargon of Akkad? I wouldn't even need Sargon to tell me that he thought that he was still on friendly terms with Spinosauruskin, because even Spinosauruskin himself makes it sound like that. You also might have noticed that Spinosauruskin constantly tries to change the narrative of what the goal of the parody account was. First it was to parody certain views of Sargon, then it was just there to shitpost and he enjoyed it, then it supposedly made arguments and people responded to those arguments. So what is it? In the following clip, Spinosauruskin tries to change the narrative again.
So, for a quick recap, Sargon of Akkad has done 2 video hit pieces on me due to the fact that I made a parody account on Twitter called Hard On for a Sad, where I played a satirical character of someone who agrees with anti-SJWs no matter what they say.
So now all of a sudden, Spinosauruskin is trying to make it sound like the parody account was just created to agree with anti-SJWs all the time. He's trying to distance himself from the fact that this account was created to specifically make fun of Sargon. We could just go back to previous parts of this video to see that the narrative changed multiple times. But I don't even have to do that because in a later part of this same video of Spinosauruskin, he debunks himself.
Carl, you are lying. To 93,000 people and counting. And why? Just so you can get some victim points to smear a 19-year-old who was making fun of you on the internet with. How ethical.
So he was specifically making fun of Sargon with that parody account. Then what was all that other bullshit about just now? So Spinosauruskin ended one of his videos about Sargon with this clip from Milo Yiannopoulos, and this shows so clearly that Spinosauruskin completely misunderstands the whole problem.
So the other day I was reliably informed that David Sherratt, otherwise known as Spinosauruskin, runs a parody account of me, which is why I chose to unfollow him.
The sound that authoritarians and dictators hate the most is the sound of laughter, because it's the sound of freedom, and it's the sound. It means that dissidence and mischief and subversion are permitted.
Yes, they hate being laughed at by actual people who laugh in their face. They don't give a shit in the slightest about some parody accounts on Twitter, especially if they don't know who they are run by and they are completely anonymous. If they would find out that some of their friends are behind those anonymous accounts, that would bother them. Now, let's move on to the matter with Bering, because the following situation really shows how shockingly Spinosauruskin contradicts himself at times. The premise here is that a YouTuber called Roaming Millennial invited a guy called Richard Spencer on her channel for an interview. Another YouTuber called ContraPoints thinks that Roaming Millennial should not even have allowed Richard Spencer on her channel. Bering obviously disagreed with this notion.
Fucking hell, Contra. For someone who reckons that Roaming Millennial shouldn't allow people she disagrees with to express their thoughts on her channel,
Spinosauruskin will now claim that ContraPoints did not have that position.
This is the only other point in the video worth addressing, and it's a really bad one, because that wasn't ContraPoint's issue with the interview. And Bering knows it, since when Vadim took him to task on Twitter for this claim, Bering responded with this video clip.
Spinosauruskin seems very, very confident that the following clip will work in his favor, but listen carefully to what is being said.
I know there are a lot of people who are saying that, online, that you're saying that, don't talk to him at all. And it's, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, your issue is with not just the interview itself, which I think a lot of people did have issue with, but also kind of the way that it was conducted, I guess, if I'm right.
yes.
So ContraPoints just clearly confirmed having a problem with the interview itself happening and with the way it was conducted. But listen to what Spino is saying next.
Yeah. Contra's issue with the interview was the softball nature of it and the way Roaming went about it, not the fact that it happened in and of itself.
It's like he just completely tunes out things he doesn't want to hear. He is trying to claim victory after having been defeated by his own video in a time span of less than 20 seconds. How does someone not notice this? In all honesty, though, I don't want to make fun of anyone, and Spino, if you're listening by chance, I don't know what's going on with you at the moment. I think you are clearly in the wrong when it comes to the recent problems you had with Sargon and Bering, but I still wish you all the best. Thanks for listening.